Most people over 60 think morning stiffness is just part of aging. They roll out of bed, feel tight, and assume that's normal. But here's what physical therapists know that most doctors don't tell you. The first 5 minutes after you wake up are the most important window for keeping your legs strong. I'm a movement specialist who's worked with over 2,000 aging adults, and I'm about to show you 4 exercises you do before your feet even hit the floor that directly prevent the #1 cause of loss of independence. These aren't stretches, they're activation drills that wake up the exact muscles that stop working first. By the end of this video, you'll have a 5-minute routine that keeps you walking, climbing stairs, and living without assistance. But here's the catch. Most people do number 3 completely wrong, and it costs them years of mobility. Stay with me because I'm also going to show you the one mistake that makes all 4 of these exercises worthless. Let's start with the one that looks boring but fixes the thing that breaks first. Lie flat on your back with both legs straight. Take a breath and relax your whole body into the mattress. Now slowly slide one heel toward your hips, bending your knee while keeping your foot flat on the mattress. The key word here is slowly. This isn't a race. Slide it back down smooth and controlled, feeling every inch of that movement. Switch legs. Repeat 10 times per leg, alternating sides. This is heel slide knee bends, and here's why it matters more than you think. Every time you stand up from a chair, get out of a car, or climb a single stair, your knee has to bend and straighten under load. That's called the hinge pattern. After 60, that hinge pattern is the first thing people lose. Not because the knee is damaged or arthritic, but because the brain stops sending the signal efficiently. The connection between your nervous system and your knee joint gets fuzzy. This drill rewires that connection every single morning before you even put weight on your legs. I had a 68-year-old patient named Margaret who couldn't get off the toilet without pushing up with her arms. She thought she needed knee surgery. But when we tested her, her knees were fine. The problem was that her brain had stopped telling her knees how to fire in that bent position. Not because of weakness, but because of a lost motor pattern. 6 weeks of heel slides every morning, just 10 reps per leg, and she stood up unassisted for the first time in 2 years. No surgery, no injections, just pattern recognition. The bed gives you a safe surface with zero impact. Your knee moves through its full range of motion. Your hip flexors engage slightly, and your nervous system logs the pattern into its database. Do this every day, and you're literally teaching your body to remember how to stand. Now here's the part no one talks about. The speed matters more than the reps. If you rush it, you're just moving your leg through space. If you go slow and actually feel the slide, feel your heel against the sheet, feel your knee bending, you're building motor control. That difference is everything. But here's what most people miss after they master this movement. Your knees can bend and straighten all day long, but if your ankles are locked up and immobile, you'll still lose your balance every time you step off a curb or walk on uneven ground. That's exactly why the next exercise targets the one joint that secretly controls whether you walk with confidence or shuffle around like you're afraid of falling. Now this next one sounds completely ridiculous until you understand what it's actually doing to your body. Stay on your back and lift one foot slightly off the bed, maybe 6 inches, nothing crazy. Now I want you to use your toes like a pen and slowly trace the letters of the alphabet in the air. Start with capital A and go all the way through to Z. Make the letters big and clear, like you're writing on an invisible chalkboard. Once you finish the alphabet with one foot, switch to the other foot and do it again. This is ankle alphabet tracing, and it does something that no other ankle exercise in the world does. Your ankle joint has more range of motion than almost any other joint in your entire body. It can move up and down, side to side, and rotate in multiple directions all at once. But here's the problem. Most people over 60 only use their ankles in 2 directions. Push the gas pedal down, pull it back up. Forward and back. That's it. Everything else, all those side-to-side movements, all those rotational movements, they completely atrophy from lack of use. And when those movement patterns disappear, your ankle becomes unstable. When you trace letters in the air, you're forcing your ankle to move through every single plane of movement it's capable of. The letter A requires diagonal lines. The letter O is a full circle. The letter Z demands sharp angular changes. Every single letter forces a completely different movement pattern, and your ankle has to adapt in real time. That's the training effect you cannot get from any other exercise. Let me give you a real-world example of why this matters so much. I worked with a 72-year-old man named Robert who kept rolling his ankle on completely flat ground. Not tripping over something, not stepping in a hole, just walking normally in his house, and suddenly his ankle would give out and he'd nearly fall. It happened 3 times in 2 months and he was terrified. We tested his ankle mobility and found that he had almost zero lateral control. He couldn't move his foot side to side with any strength or stability. All he had was up and down. 3 weeks of ankle alphabet tracing every single morning and his rolling stopped completely. Why? Because his brain relearned how to stabilize his ankle in all directions, not just the 2 directions he'd been using for years. The alphabet isn't just a gimmick to make it memorable, it's functional. Each letter creates a different challenge. Your ankle has to constantly adjust, and that adjustment is what builds real-world stability. You're not just getting stronger, you're getting smarter movement. Now your ankles are mobile, your knees are firing properly, but there's still one critical muscle group that's probably weaker than you think. And when it fails, every single step you take starts to feel like you're walking through mud. Let me show you exactly how to wake it up. Exercise 3. Seated bed march. All right, now sit up in bed with your back pressed against the headboard or the wall behind you. If you don't have support, that's fine. Just sit up as straight as you can. Place your feet flat on the mattress in front of you with your knees bent at about 90 degrees. Now lift one knee up toward your chest like you're marching in place, but do it slowly and with complete control. Hold it at the top for just 1 second, then lower it back down just as slowly. Switch the other leg. Keep alternating, slow and steady. Do 20 total reps. That's 10 per leg. This is the seated bed march, and this is the exercise that most people fail without even knowing they're failing. Here's what's actually happening inside your body when you do this movement. Your hip flexors are the group of muscles that lift your knee toward your body. Every single time you take a step forward, every time you climb a stair, every time you get into a car, those hip flexors have to fire first. They initiate the movement. After 60, hip flexors weaken faster than almost any other muscle group in your body. And here's why. People stop lifting their knees high enough in daily life. You start taking shorter steps, you shuffle a little bit, you don't pick your feet up as high when you walk, and when you stop using that full range of motion, your hip flexors get lazy. They forget how to contract with strength, and when that happens, everything changes. Your gait changes, your walking pattern shifts. You start compensating with your lower back, which causes pain. Your knees take more impact with every step because your hips aren't absorbing the shock anymore. And eventually, walking becomes exhausting, even when you're just going from the kitchen to the living room. The seated march fixes this because it isolates the hip flexor in the most stable position possible. You're sitting down, so you're not worrying about balance. You're not concerned about falling. You're just retraining that lift pattern. Let me tell you about a patient named Diane, 65 years old, who came to me and said her legs felt heavy all the time. Not sore, not painful, just heavy, like she was dragging weights around. She couldn't explain it any better than that. We tested her hip flexor strength, and she could barely lift her knee past 45 degrees while sitting down. That's a massive red flag. A healthy hip flexor should be able to bring your knee up to hip height without any struggle. We added seated marches to her morning routine, 20 reps every single day, and within 1 month, she told me walking felt completely different. She said it felt lighter, like her legs had woken up, and she wasn't imagining it. Her hip flexors were firing again, so her legs didn't have to compensate and drag through every single step. Now here's the test you need to do right now. While you're sitting in bed, try to lift one knee up to hip height without leaning backward and without using momentum to swing it up. If you can't do that cleanly, your hip flexors are already compromised. That's not something to ignore. But even if your hips are strong, even if your knees are working perfectly, there's still one silent problem that hits almost everyone over 60 the exact second they stand up in the morning. And it's the number one reason your legs feel stiff and heavy for those first 10 steps. Let me show you how to fix it before you even get out of bed. Before I show you, kindly comment the first 2 exercises you've learned to see if you were paying attention. Exercise 4, ankle pumps. Last exercise, and it's the simplest one, but also one of the most underrated. Lie back down flat on your back with both legs straight out in front of you. Relax completely. Now point your toes away from your body like you're pushing down on a gas pedal. Push them as far as they'll go. Then pull your toes back toward your shins like you're stomping on a brake. Pull them back as far as you can. That's 1 full rep. Now do 30 reps in a row with a steady rhythm. No pausing. Just push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. Keep it smooth and controlled. This is called ankle pumps. And yes, you've probably heard of this exercise before. It's been around forever. But here's why it still matters and why most people completely underestimate what it's actually doing. Every single time you pump your ankle up and down, you're squeezing the veins in your lower leg like a tube of toothpaste. That squeezing action pushes blood back up toward your heart. After 60, your circulation naturally slows down. That's just physiology. Blood starts to pool in your legs, especially after you've been lying in one position for 6 to 8 hours while you sleep. That pooling is exactly why your feet and ankles feel stiff, swollen, and tight when you first wake up. Ankle pumps are a manual reset button for your circulation. You're literally pumping stagnant fluid out of your lower legs and getting fresh, oxygenated blood back into the muscles before you stand up and ask them to work. That reduces morning stiffness dramatically. It prevents swelling, and it gets oxygen into the tissues that desperately need it. Let me give you a concrete example. I worked with a 70-year-old man named Frank who had chronic calf cramps every single morning. Not at night like most people, in the morning. He'd swing his legs out of bed, stand up, and within 3 steps, his calves would seize up into painful cramps that would stop him in his tracks. It was happening almost every day. We added 30 ankle pumps to his routine right before he got out of bed, and within 1 week, the cramps stopped, completely gone. Why did that work? Because his calf muscles were getting flushed with fresh blood before they had to contract and support his full body weight. The muscle wasn't cramping because it was weak, it was cramping because it was oxygen starved. Ankle pumps fix that. It's not complicated, it's not fancy, but it absolutely works. The key to getting the benefit is in the rhythm. Don't just lazily flop your foot back and forth. Make each rep deliberate. Push hard, pull hard. You should feel your calf muscle working slightly on each rep. That contraction is what creates the pumping effect in your veins. If you don't feel anything, you're not doing it right. Now here's the hard truth. If you watched this entire video and you're not going to hit the like button or subscribe, you're doing the same thing you're probably doing with your health. You're consuming information but not taking action. Liking this video takes 1 second, and it helps thousands of other people over 60 find this information when they need it most. Subscribing means you'll actually see the next video that could prevent your next fall or keep you out of a nursing home. If this information was valuable enough for you to watch for 13 minutes, it's valuable enough for you to share it with 1 click. So right now, pause, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and prove to yourself that you're someone who takes action. Because the same discipline that makes you click that button is the same discipline that will make you do these exercises tomorrow morning. Don't be the person who knows what to do but never does it. So let's recap everything you just learned. You now have 4 exercises that wake up your ankles, your knees, your hips, and your circulation before your feet ever touch the floor. Heel slide knee bends to keep your standing pattern sharp and your knees firing correctly. Ankle alphabet tracing for complete joint mobility in every direction your ankle is supposed to move. Seated bed marches to protect your hip flexors and keep your walking pattern strong and efficient. And ankle pumps to flush your lower legs, boost circulation, and prevent that morning stiffness that makes the first 10 steps feel horrible. These are not random stretches that some influencer made up. They're targeted activation drills that protect the exact movement patterns you need to keep walking, standing, climbing stairs, and living without help. Do them every morning, and you're investing in a future where you stay independent, mobile, and strong.
Now, if you found this video helpful, do me a favor and click that like button right now so more people over 60 can see this information. It helps the algorithm show this to people who really need it. Subscribe to this channel because I release new evidence-based movement strategies every single week. And here's what you need to watch next. I just put out a video on the 3 Japanese proven exercises that everyone over 60 should be able to do. And the truth is, most people can't. It's on your screen right now. Click it, watch it, and keep building your strength. Your future self will thank you. I'll see you in the next one.